Greetings and welcome to our July 2026 Q&A session with Jim McCarty. My name is Jonathan Tong and I'm facilitator for the Seattle Law of One study group. We can be found in the list of study groups at the L&L Research website shown on your screen. We do also have a Facebook group and we meet on Zoom twice a week, Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time, Saturdays 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. You don't have to live in Seattle or anywhere near Seattle to join our Facebook group or our Zoom sessions. Anyone who's interested and available is welcome to join. Just contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com to get on our mailing list. We send out emails once a week with Zoom links and information on what we're talking about that week. We do also have a YouTube channel where we keep recordings of our podcast episodes, as well as recordings of previous Q&As with Jim McCarty. Just go to our YouTube channel and click on the subscribe button if you'd like to get notifications when we upload new videos. And contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com if you would like to join our mailing list. Otherwise, we are blessed once again to be joined by our good friend Jim McCarty for some informal conversation, questions and answers about the Law of One and how to live it in our daily lives. How you doing today, Jim?
Doing great. I had a wonderful morning doing some weeding by hand in my gardens outside because it was only 71 degrees.
Oh, so nice. I can't help noticing there seems to be something different about your appearance. Can't quite put my finger on it. It's like one of those spot the difference puzzles. That's a nice look. Care to share any thoughts on this?
Well, it had been 6 years since I'd had a beard, and I was not remembering what I looked like without one. So I thought, well, I'm going to shave. And that was about 10 days ago, and I think I'm going to keep shaving for the indefinite future.
Oh, that's so nice. That's nice. So beautiful. Yeah, it's good look. You're a good looking dude either way, no doubt about it. Jim, if you don't mind, I had a few questions that I wanted to ask you about the archetypical mind, also known as the Egyptian tarot. For viewers who are not up on this, the archetypical mind has been described as the blueprint for our third density incarnations. If you want more explanation on that, you might want to go ahead and check out our podcast episode on the archetypical mind. Otherwise, for now, suffice it to say that if your mind was an iceberg, then the tip of the iceberg above water would be like your conscious mind, the part that you can see and access easily. The part of the iceberg just under the water would be like your subconscious mind, the part that you can sort of see but not easily access. The part below that would be like your unconscious mind, the part you really cannot see at all and really cannot access. And supposedly, if you were to go deeper below that, below your individual mind, you would reach what is referred to as the racial mind, the mind, collective mind of your race, either from this planet or quite possibly another planet. Keep going deeper below that, you would reach the planetary mind, the collective unconscious mind of Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. Keep going deeper and deeper below that, you would reach the archetypical mind, the mind of our galaxy, our solar system, our local part of the universe. Keep going deeper and deeper and deeper below that, you would eventually reach the universal mind, the cosmic mind, the mind of the one infinite creator or intelligent infinity. The archetypical mind consists of 22 images representing 7 archetypes of the mind, 7 archetypes of the body, 7 archetypes of the spirit, plus the choice, a 22nd archetype, which does not belong specifically to mind, body, or spirit, but belongs to all of those things. Today, Jim, I wanted to ask you a few questions about the archetypes of the spirit, specifically the matrix of the spirit and the potentiator of the spirit. In the Raw Contact Session 88, question 24, Raw noted that it was encouraged us to study the archetypes in pairs, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, and 7. So archetypes 1 and 2 are specifically the matrix and the potentiator. And with regard to these in particular, with the matrix of the spirit in session 80, question 8, Ra said, "You may with some fruitfulness consider the possibilities of moonlight. You are aware that we have described the matrix of the spirit as a night. The moonlight then offers either a true picture seen in shadow or chimera and falsity. The power of falsity is deep, as is the power to discern truth from shadow. The shadow of hidden things is an infinite depth in which is stored the power of the one infinite creator. The adept then is working with the power of hidden things, illuminated by that which can be false or true. To embrace falsity, to know it, to seek it, and to use it gives a power that is most great. This is the nature of the power of your visitor, and may shed some light upon the power of one who seeks in order to serve others as well. For the missteps in the night are oh so easy. It is such a fascinating passage, and I have read and reflected on this so many times, and I'm gathering that you have too. Do you have any thoughts or reflections on anything from this passage, what it means to you, and how it might relate to our daily lives?
Well, in another quote, Ross said, "The Creator blinks neither at the light nor the darkness. The positive path and the negative path both give the Creator ways to know itself."
Yeah.
And I've always thought that once the negative entities get to the beginning of the sixth density, the fact they can't go any further because they have to see everyone as the Creator and not just themselves as the Creator. They have to switch polarities and become positive. So they give the Creator both positive and negative ways to know itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Really easy thing to forget, and I think a really hard thing for folks on the positive path to accept, that those on the negative path, those who are doing things which we would interpret as evil, it's as equally legitimate path to the Creator as good. That is definitely a challenge. Any thoughts on what quo mean, or what Ra means when they say to embrace falsity, to know it, to seek it, and to use it gives a power that is most great?
Well, that's a negative polarity, polarizing more and more negatively. And it's just as powerful as the positive polarity.
Yeah.
They travel that path by gaining the power of others below them, and that the others below them are willing to give that power up if they can learn how to do the same thing when they're out on their own. So that negativity, that darkness, has just as much power as the light. They're both the creator. It's like our sun and our moon. We have nighttime and we have daytime, and we can sleep at the nighttime, and we can have dreams that are inspiring. We can get up in the daytime and we go to work and work in our gardens and be of service to our friends around us.
Would it be fair to say, do you think that truth and honesty is pretty much central to the positive path of service to others, and that lies and deceptions are pretty central to the negative path of service to self?
Yeah, the positive path, as Ross said, is the path of that which is. They said the negative path is the path of that which is not. And the negative path is pretty powerful until the sixth density. And
Right.
then they have to change their polarity. So both paths are ways that can know the creator.
Yeah, for sure. And again, that just cannot be emphasized enough. I just find this particular part of the passage fascinating because to me, it seems to be something I'm seeing a lot. There's a term that we use called gaslighting, where people are saying things that they know are false. They know they're lying, but they're using it to cause other people to question their own grasp of reality, being told that they didn't see things that they saw happening with their own eyes right in front of them. And it seems to be part of the mind control strategy of service to the self entities, and doesn't mean we can't love them, but recognizing it when it happens, I would think, is part of the
Well, I
discernment.
think we need to love them. We
For
don't
sure.
need to love what they do. They
Right.
are the creator,
Right.
and love is the answer to any problem we may have.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Raquel, did you have a follow-up question?
More like a follow-up inject, like want to throw in my 2 cents here. So what I'm gathering a little bit, if I go a little bit deeper, it's also embracing yourself in the illusion and understanding that you are here to have that experience. And the darkness and the negativity is part of that experience for you. And so you must now
For
use that
sure.
experience to polarize in your positive way by acknowledging that, yes, that is the darkness that exists, but I am if you are, a service to others being. And so this is now how you kind of infuse your light. And I would say
Yeah.
also taking that light from the shadow side of yourself to kind of embrace that shadow, use that shadow within the self as a propeller almost to kind of like have like more strength to kind of use your light, because without,
Indeed.
everybody has darkness and light within them, and so you cannot ignore that side of you, just like you cannot ignore the service to
Right.
self path. It's everything, it's valid. And so equally embrace that outside of you as within you, and then that's going to help you to kind of polarize in along your path.
Beautifully said. Yeah, I agree 100%. Does that make sense to you, Jim?
Definitely. I think all of us have dark sides that are the problems that we face in the form of catalyst that comes our way. And sometimes we have to change what we are doing or thinking or saying, and change is difficult. So that can be that dark side. But if
For
we can
sure.
embrace it and have a conversation with it and
Sure.
make amends, shall we say, for misperceptions in our life with ourselves or with other people, then we can grow from it. Change
For
is
sure.
painful, but that's the way we grow in the third density illusion, where we
For
have that
sure.
veil of forgetting between the conscious and the subconscious mind. It's a path back home to the Creator. It's
For
not an
sure.
easy path, but it's well worth the effort.
Yeah, and I would think it fair to say that is one of the big reasons that those of us who are wanderers who chose to incarnate now chose this time to experience that very type of difficulty and challenges and shadow work. So great potential for growth for sure. If you don't mind, let me take a look at let me share another passage about the matrix of the spirit. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, Jim. A couple questions later, the questioner says, now the 15th archetype, which is the matrix of the spirit, has been called the devil. Can you tell me why that is so? Ra, I am Ra. We do not wish to be facile in such a central query, but we may note that the nature of the spirit is so infinitely subtle that the fructifying influence of light upon the great darkness of the spirit is very often not as apparent as the darkness itself. The progress chosen by many adepts becomes a confused path as each adept attempts to use the catalyst of the spirit. Few there are which are successful in grasping the light of the sun. By far, the majority of adepts remain groping in the moonlight, and as we have said, this light can deceive as well as uncover hidden mystery. Therefore, the melody, shall we say, of this matrix often seems to be of a negative and evil, as you would call it, nature. It is also to be noted that an adept is one which has freed itself more and more from the constraints of the thoughts, opinions, and bonds of other selves. Whether this is done for service to others or service to self, it is a necessary part of the awakening of the adept. This freedom is seen by those not free as what you would call evil or black. The magic is recognized, the nature of it is not. Really super fascinating passage, and I think maybe the part that really catches my attention most is where they say, few there are which are successful in grasping the light of the sun. By far, the majority of the adepts remain groping in the moonlight. Any thoughts on that, Jim? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think that means, whether we're in the light or the dark, we're going to have problems moving forward on our spiritual journey that are going to manifest as one thing or another. Problem with a neighbor, a problem with ourselves, a problem with someone in our family. And so we just have to work it out by having a conversation.
Yeah,
And if it's a conversation with ourselves, maybe we do that in meditation.
yeah,
Conversation with neighbor, family, we do it in person. And we
yeah,
resolve the difficulties. We try to see that the light and the dark are something that are helping us both to grow further and further into the light of the Creator. So I think if we just work at it, if we just use our catalyst, then we can grow. But if we don't use it, if we don't willing to share our hearts and what we really feel and think, and then maybe ask forgiveness for what problems we've caused somebody else. If we can be authentic and come from our heart, then we grow. If we don't want to have the conversation, we don't grow.
it's beautifully said. I had not thought of that at all, but it does remind me of what Ross said at the very beginning, where they said the archetypical is mind is designed so that everybody sees it in their own way, and that each way is legitimate in its own way. So, yeah, I appreciate your opening my eyes to that. I think when I looked at that part, I was reminded of what's been said about the steps of light, where, after our incarnation ends, we walk these steps of light with increasingly bright light to see how far we can go into third or fourth or fifth or sixth density light. And whenever the light becomes too bright, you just stop. And wherever you stop, that's the density that you'll be at. And it reminds me, when I read that, I think, oh, okay, it means that we cannot handle the full intensity of sixth density light. So most of us remain in third density, groping in the moonlight, trying to, as I think you're suggesting, kind of sort out what's real and what's not real, what's true and what's not real, in order to maybe work out conflicts in relationships and such, or make sense of reality in general. Does that interpretation make sense to you, Jim?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Raquel, something you wanted to add?
Yes, it's kind of a question. So I love the part where it says it is also noted that the adept is one who has freed itself from more and more of constrained thoughts, etc. Now, that to me is a very key part of this whole session right there. And I wanted to know, Jim, when and how did you free yourself? Because I know you as an adept, Don, Carla, all adepts to different degrees, and so most wanderers. But I feel like that's part of the programming, that we come into third density with. But how did you free yourself from that, like heavy programming? I know you don't watch TV, you don't listen to certain things, but what was your process like freeing yourself from the constraints of other selves?
What a great question.
I think basically it was spending more time in meditation and trying to get more of a handle of what I had experienced that was not what I was hoping, that I'd fallen short, and that in meditation I could receive some information from the Creator that are thoughts too deep for words. So the feelings that would come would be that which was helping me to find a path out of the darkness of the problems that I had created. So basically meditation and opening my heart to the Creator's voice, that still small voice within.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Because everybody, even when you recognize yourself as an adept, you try to understand, how do I use the knowledge and the information that is within me or coming to me? And so, yes, definitely in meditation is key to that. So thanks for sharing.
Well, thank you for your question.
Great question, Raquel. Yeah, much appreciated. I would think it fair to say that's something that everybody struggles with, adept or
Oh,
not.
yeah. Yeah.
So much
If you're an
social
awakened
programming.
spiritual seeker of truth, you've got to know that is the process. If you're not awakened, the problems continue because people who are not awakened don't want to talk about it usually. They just want to let it fester and get worse.
Yeah, and we're exposed to so much social programming from day one that I think it's really interesting that they're saying it's for both on the positive path and the negative path. Have to learn to not care so much about the thoughts and opinions of other selves. Appreciate that. If you don't mind, I have a question about the second one then, the potentiator of the spirit. Jim, I noticed in the potentiator of the spirit in session 78, question 11, Ross said, the matrix of the spirit is what you may call the night of the soul or primeval darkness. Again, we have that which is not capable of movement or work. The potential power of this extremely receptive matrix is such that the potentiator may be seen as lightning. In your archetypical system called the tarot, this has been refined into the concept complex of the lightning-struck tower. However, the original potentiator was light in its sudden and fiery form. That is the lightning itself. And then in session 79, question 20, Ross said, the matrix of the spirit is difficult to characterize since the nature of the spirit is less motile. The energies and movements of the spirit are, by far, the most profound, yet having more close association with time-space, do not have the characteristics of dynamic motion. Thusly, one may see the matrix as the deepest darkness and the potentiator of the spirit as the most sudden awakening, illuminating, and generating influence. I know we talked at the beginning about this, about, studying these two archetypes together, seeing how the matrix and potentiator of the spirit work together. So am I understanding this correctly, that the matrix of the spirit is just basically darkness, pure darkness, and that the potentiator, the spirit, is like a flash of lightning in the darkness. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I think this darkness is our knowing, not knowing how to move forward in a problem that we might have in our lives. And if we, like I said, think about it, meditate about it, get some movement suggestions from the creator in the form of thoughts or images, that these suggestions are like that lightning for just a moment, shines a bright light upon the problem so it becomes to us. And we can see where we may have fallen down, we may have hurt somebody's feelings, but then that light also shows us what we can do to make recommendation, recompense, make it better, to solve the problem, to heal the wound.
Yeah.
So I think that darkness really is something that helps us to feel the problem and to get a real good grasp on it, not try to ignore it, but to feel it. And then at some point we've got that lightning from the creator, or maybe our higher self, that
Yeah.
reveals the problem and the solution. And then we can move forward on
That
our
makes
spiritual
sense.
journey.
Yeah, fascinating to me how they're saying that the matrix of the spirit is darkness and that both adepts on the positive and negative path begin in darkness, and that the appearance of this appears evil. That's why they would refer to it as the devil, which sounds like a very strange thing for folks on the positive path to be identifying with. But yeah, it's a really eye opening thing that I've never seen anywhere but in the Law one. So much appreciate that. Do you mind if I show you another passage and ask about it?
Sure.
I
I mean, no,
see
I
a
don't mind.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I see Jonathan has a question. Jonathan, did you want to ask a follow up question?
I just had kind of a thought on that subject, if that's okay.
A brief thought? Go for it.
Yes, a brief thought. Um, in this way of thinking, I know can be a little confusing. What helped me is to, instead of thinking it as darkness or something negative, think of it as nothing. Like you have something and you have nothing, right? And in that way, you can kind of relate to the one infinite creator, simultaneously being everything and nothing, infinity and nothing at the same time. So think of it, it helps be less afraid of it to think of it more as like something and nothing rather than light and darkness. Maybe, it might be
That's
an
interesting.
easier way to think about it.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Jim? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think we all have individual ways of looking at a situation. I think, if that works for you, that sounds like it might work.
Yeah, well said. Let's take a look at another passage on the matrix, potentiator, the spirit. This is actually from Quo, and this was a session on September 16th, 2001, about a week after the 9/11 attacks in New York City. Quo said, "Let us go back to that lightning struck tower and look at its significance again. Within your next decade or two, this transformation will have taken place. This is the time to acknowledge fully the need to learn the ways of the self, to become more and more familiar with the thoughts of the heart, with an eye to working with these thoughts, to accentuating the tendency towards positivity, towards compassion, towards tolerance, towards creativity, towards hope and faith. The lightning struck tower is a kind of signal at this time that great catalyst is now available for the spirit. And the Tarot system, which this instrument is somewhat familiar with, the catalyst of the spirit is hope." Yeah, super fascinating passage. And I think the idea that the lightning struck tower is a signal that great catalyst is now available for the spirit is an interesting one. Especially in the light of when this was recorded a week after the 9/11 attacks. Any thoughts on anything there, Jim?
Well, I think it's said pretty well in there.
Yeah.
The lightning struck tower is something that we all experience. We're having some difficulties. The difficulties at that time were the Twin Towers in New York City were exploded. And
Yeah.
it might be a symbolic way of looking at all of us of having something that's attacking us in some way or other. a problem we've created, a problem somebody else has created. And then once again, meditation and remembering to open our heart to love is a way to solve it because love is the answer to all problems in one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so easy to forget that. It's so easy to get lost in intellectual circles and debates about things. But as you said, yeah, it always comes back to love. That's the answer to every question. I think I'm just curious because the whole relationship between all the different archetypes, matrix, potentiator, catalyst, experience, and so on has been something that's been interesting and puzzling to me. So I was hoping to try to unravel some of this stuff with you. If it's okay, I think I wanted to ask another question about the experience of the spirit. So in session 80, question 15, Ross said the adept, whether positive or negative, has the same matrix. The potentiator is also identical. Due to the catalyst of each adept, the adept may begin to pick and choose that into which it shall look further. The experience of the spirit, that which you have called the moon, is then by far the more manifest of influences upon the polarity of the adept. Even the most unhappy of experiences, shall we say, which seem to occur in the catalyst of the adept, seen from the viewpoint of the spirit, may, with this discrimination possible in shadow, be worked with until light equaling the light of brightest noon depends upon the adept and positive or service to others illumination has occurred. The service to self adept will satisfy itself with the shadows and grasping the light of day, will toss back the head in grim laughter, preferring the darkness. Such an interesting visual at the end there. It's really fascinating to me. I think the part that was most interesting to me was the part in red where they're saying even the most unhappy of experiences seen from the viewpoint of the spirit may with discrimination possible be worked with until light equaling the light of the brightest noon depends upon the adept and positive service to others illumination has occurred. I think it reminds me of discussions that have come up many times in our Zoom sessions where people note that often it's the most negative seeming catalyst that ends up producing the most positive fruit. Probably the main thing that comes to mind is the COVID quarantine pandemic. It seems that, like me, so many other folks in our Zoom groups discovered the law of one during COVID and can be traced back to that quarantining time, meaning that something that seems like an overwhelmingly negative catalyst really had overwhelmingly positive polarizations resulting from it. Does that make sense to you? Is that how you're looking at this? Have you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole thing about catalyst is during the pain, working through the pain, resolving the pain through the heart, and then discovering that there is a light that brings the Creator's love into your heart. We're all here to experience that pain. And that is something that is not easy to do, but it is well worth the effort. We just have to keep moving forward with whatever causes us pain to resolve it and do it through conversation, through meditation, through prayer. And then the light will shine and we'll move another step forward. This whole third density is moving forward through processing the catalyst of one pain or another. It's not an easy trail, but it's one well worth traveling.
Indeed it is. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts and perspectives on this. I always learn from you, as I learn from everyone in our Zoom groups. So thank you for sharing that. If it's okay with you, if you don't mind indulging me, one more question about the archetypical mind. And this is a diagram from the Archetypes workbook, which was authored by our friend Joseph D'Artes in 2014. And I believe it was part of a L&L research gathering. So he was trying to come up with a graphic to illustrate the relationships between the archetypes. And I just was wondering if you could, I'll share you what I think it's saying, and I would love to hear your thoughts and reflections on it. It would seem like he's saying there is a relationship between the matrix, potentiator, catalyst, and the experience. As we just saw with the matrix and potentiator, the spirit, it's like the matrix is darkness, potentiator is like a lightning bolt in the darkness. I would interpret catalyst as whatever seems to be coming to us from the outside world, that which assaults the senses, as Ra referred to it. Then somehow this is translated into experiences of mind or body or spirit. And it's just an endlessly repeating cycle as we process catalysts from our environment. The significator seems to be the archetype that is kind of processing all of this, interpreting all of this. And then in some cases, transformations can result from intense enough catalyst, and one transformation can lead to another. And that the Great Way archetype is just kind of a way of illustrating the setting in which all of this takes place. Does that make sense to you? Do you have different views on any of these things?
No, I think you said it well. I mean, it's a process of the matrix coming up with a problem that is illuminated by the potentiator. And once we discover what that is, that we're using that catalyst. And as we use the catalyst, then we have the experience that we can put in our hierophant, whether it's the mind, body, or spirit. And we collect those experiences and we keep moving forward on a spiritual journey back into unity with the Creator.
Yeah, really super appreciate that. I know archetypical mind is not at all interesting to a lot of people, but for me, it's just super interesting to me. It's kind of like, it's like the programming for a video game. If your third density incarnation was a video game, and as far as I can tell, it is in many ways, the archetypical mind is kind of like the programming of the video game, the software behind it. And you don't have to understand the programming to enjoy the video game, but if you actually understand the programming and how it works, it can really give you some good cheat codes and ways to accelerate your growth if that's what you're trying to do. Is that how you see it, Jim? Is that a fair
I think
analogy?
basically the archetypes are a general description of our way of traveling back into unity with the Creator. It's the process of evolution.
Makes perfect sense to me. Kind of like a roadmap, maybe.
Yeah, precisely. And I always
Raquel?
thought it was interesting that our address at where we had the raw contact, 8806 North Waterson Trail, 8806 is 22, the choice.
Oh, interesting. Nice little bit of numerology there. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. That's great. Raquel, did you have something you wanted to ask or share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share quickly. So I agree with everything Jim said before, like right after you asked him about the diagram. That was pretty um, direct and to the point, Jim. So if anybody's trying to understand it, just rewind that part. It's very much what is discussed here. I wanted to add just a little snippet about this would be a cheat code into the archetypical mind. So when you are receiving catalyst and it's a repeating catalyst to you, you might say to yourself, I've already done this. Like I've already had this experience. I have already had this catalyst. Why does it keep coming my way? Well, each time the catalyst comes your way, you need to experience it because without experience it, you don't have the opportunity to make a different choice. When you make a different choice from the same repeating catalyst, that is when you will polarize and the catalyst will either appear to you differently or you have fully learned your lesson. So that's like a little bit of like nuance for you to understand. If you do not experience the catalyst, you will not be able to make a choice. So don't ignore the catalyst and not experience it because that's the whole point. If you don't experience it, you will not grow from it. And so once you do make a different choice, though, you will polarize and you will either learn the lesson fully or you will never have to, and you will never have to repeat that catalyst again.
And is that where the transformation would take place?
Yes, you will now transform like a anime character, in your transformation.
Yeah.
You will
Yeah.
transform and you will gain that wisdom, and now that wisdom will be seated in your consciousness, and you will move on. And when that catalyst appears, because sometimes the universe will say, "Hey, did you really get it?" And it'll come back
Right.
again in a different, refined form, and you will
Right.
recognize it. I have recognized it from the energetic frequency of it, and I'll say, "No, I've already learned that lesson, but thank you, universe." And
That's beautiful. Yeah, what a great lesson. I had not thought of that. I really appreciate your sharing that. Thank you. Neely, was there something you wanted to add?
Yes. Hi. Hi, Jim. Hi, everybody. Um, Raquel, I loved what you said so much about the repeating catalyst, and I wanted to just add a little nuance that I'm starting to realize right now because I am having a repeat catalyst, and And that's the fact that we learn in a spiral. So we
Right.
may repeat a catalyst, but now we, shall we say, past the 101 of the catalyst, and now we're
Right.
in 102,
Right.
and we get to experience it from a different perspective.
Right. Yeah, well said. Beautifully said. Jim, did you have anything to add to any of that?
Catalyst is food for growth. If you don't use it, your spiritual journey will starve.
Well said. Well said. Really appreciate everyone's sharing thoughts on that. And again, thanks to Joseph Dardas for sharing this illustration in the archetype workbooks. If anybody is interested in looking that up, just go to the LNL Research website, click on the channeling tab up top, click on raw contact from the drop down menu, scroll down a ways, and when you get to supplementary resource, click on archetypes in the tarot. Scroll down a ways on that page and then look on the right and under resources where it says archetype study book. That's where you will find it, and hope you enjoy it and find it useful. Otherwise, Jim, I did have a question for you, one last question, and this is about meditation. Because you are a meditation master and I am but a humble rookie, I have a question for you about this. Specifically, it's what you have referred to as one-pointed meditation or single-pointed meditation. I know you've mentioned it quite a few times in your Camelot journal. For folks like me or our viewers who are not quite sure what that means, can you talk to us about what one-pointed meditation is and how do you do it?
Well, when I meditate with my eyes closed, I'm looking at my indigo ray energy center, the pineal gland. And then I do what I've heard called the four square breathing. I inhale, I hold my breath for the period of time that feels right with that focus on the pineal gland. And then I exhale and I hold my breath for whatever feels right. And I keep repeating that time and time again. And so it is basically back years ago when I had the frontal lobes experiences that were orgasms in my brain. It's a small orgasm. It's a pressure and a feeling that I don't feel any other time.
So is one-pointed meditation always focused on the pineal gland, as far as you
Mine
know?
is. There are all kinds of ways of meditating. And I think a person has to try a few and decide what's good for themselves, or what's better.
Nice. I had thought maybe one-pointed meditation just means like focusing on something, whatever that is, and whenever you feel your focus shifting, to always come back to that one thing. Do you think that is also a fair
That's
way
another
to
way of
look at
doing it. It's another way of doing it.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Much appreciated. I did see some questions in the chat window, so I wanted to make sure that folks here have a chance to ask. B, did you have a question you wanted to ask Jim?
Yes, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jim. It's my pleasure and honor. And lots of my Indian friends send you lots of love and gratitude. The question from them is, we have noticed many lightning meteors in our sky, which suddenly appears out of nowhere and split into pieces. It seems like as if these are not meteors, but some kind of spacecraft, which are getting hit by some kind of weaponry. In one session, Ross spoke of some destructive weapons placed around Earth by our service to self brothers for purpose of destruction, and Confederation is trying to stop them. Is there some kind of battle going on around Earth between Confederation of Light and Confederation of Darkness so that Earth can smoothly shift to fourth destiny positively? If yes, then are our Confederation of Light brothers are getting hit by these weapons?
From what I remember for the raw contact, they mentioned that on the inner planes of planet Earth, there were fourth density positive and fourth density negative entities that were battling each other. And neither one was able to win the battle. They had to regroup and try again and try again. And one of the benefits of this is that it reduced the possibility of nuclear destruction of our planet.
Mm.
So I think these fourth density positive entities are willing to give up as much of their positivity as they have to keep this battle going so the negative forces do not take over our planet. Maybe through warfare, they would use nuclear weapons. That's just my opinion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, and greetings to all our brothers and sisters in India, sending your love light and receiving yours. Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
you do in service to others. Raquel, did you have a question you wanted to ask? And then I've got Elaine, and then Mercedes, and then Neely.
Yes, sorry for all my questions, but I have a curious mind. And okay, Jim, this question I don't expect you to have an answer, but more like a thought on it. I, as I'm thinking about the evolutionary process and the sublogos and how the sublogos had the ability to create the earth and create, you know, different planets and stuff. I want to know, have you ever thought about if the sublogos was ever human form and then evolved into the sublogos? Do you ever, I know this is weird, but I have these questions in my mind. And so it's a rookie question, but it's still worthwhile. Like you said, no question is stupid, right? So
Not at
yeah,
all.
because when you really think about, we're evolving for so long, like do we get to a point where, we become stars, we become galaxies, do we become, this it's a continuous, infinite evolutionary process. So has that
What do you
ever,
think, Jim? Any thoughts on that?
I think that eventually we're all going to go back into the unity with the one infinite creator. But now, as far as sublogoi and logoi, I don't believe they ever partake in the polarization of consciousness. They are
Hmm,
beyond that. They
okay.
provide the environment in which we participate in that positive and negative choice that we all have to make here in the third density. So the creator can know itself better, and so we can move forward into our reunion with the creator through many millions of years, fourth,
Mhm.
fifth, sixth, and seventh density of foreverness.
Okay,
Nice.
I could see that. Thank you.
I think that's how I pictured it too. Yeah, thank you. And it's a great question. And thank you for sharing that. Elaine, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Hi, Jim.
Hi,
Thanks for
Megan.
being with us. Yeah, I have a very light question. It's just personal information. I know you've been working on Carla's autobiography, and so I'm just wondering where you are in that project, when we can expect to read that. And then the second part of my question is, do you have future projects lined up that you're going to work on after that one?
Well, Austin told me that obviously there were quite a few typos in the autobiography that Carla wrote. And as I think I might have mentioned to you, it's not exactly an autobiography. It does talk about her childhood, does talk about spiritual principles. It talks about when she was the president of the Episcopal Church Women. It talks about problems she had with Dawn. It covers a wide range of topics, but there are some typos that need to be corrected. And I think Austin said something that he's going to have to get to when he can, because Austin, Trish, Gary have a lot of things to do on their plates. So I have no idea when I'm going to be able to make that audiobook, but I am looking forward to it very much to be able
Mm.
to make it. Now, as far as other projects, uh, you probably know that my most important project is a project every day called the Camelot Journal. And that is
Mm.
what I do in honor of Carla. And
Mm.
when she first began the Camelot Journal in 2004, she went to England to 5 speaking engagements. And she wrote a little journal back to the United States to let her readers know what she was doing. She decided to keep it going when she got here. Then she made more spiritual information available. And then when she had that surgery that would not heal in 2011, I took over the Camelot Journal, and I've been doing it basically ever since. So that is my project every day, and it takes me
Mhm.
2 to 3 hours to do it. And it's 2 or 3 hours of love given freely. So that is a project I'm going to do forever. Well,
Yay.
until I'm 100.
Whichever comes first. Yeah.
And for any of my friends here who don't read or don't know about the Camelot Journal, it's at a website, or the URL is called Bring Forth with the number 4, bringforth.org. And I've been reading it every day for a couple of years now, and there's so much wonderful spiritual information presented with so much love by Jim. And our Confederation friends, Ra, Quo, Hatan, Latwii, all of them feel like they're really with you when you read this regularly. Well, that's what it is for me anyway. I get so much out of it, and I'm so grateful to you, Jim, that this is your project. You're so consistent with it, and I look forward to it every day.
It's a beautiful
So
Well,
gift.
thank you so much.
thank
I
you
Beautiful.
so
appreciate
much.
you reading it every day.
Yeah,
Indeed.
thank you.
Yeah, check it out, viewers. I think you could also Google up Camelot Journal, Jim McCarty. Probably that would be the first thing that shows up too. Thanks so much for sharing that, Elaine. Mercedes, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
I think she said she was muted. She couldn't talk. If you could read her question, she'd appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Mercedes says, my question is regarding Carla's loving heart. I was so moved by her interviews being posted about each chapter of her book. She seems willing to roll with the punches, from small things to big things, like deciding to star in a movie the night before shooting. Did you see this exemplified in many ways in her day-to-day? How did she manage when she didn't feel like a willing instrument, or was she consistently serving with trust and love?
Carla had the biggest heart I've ever known on any person. And whenever she had a problem with anybody, she talked it out. She shared from her heart, and the problem got solved. She wouldn't stop talking until the problem was solved.
Beautiful. Beautiful thing. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for the question, Mercedes. Neely, did you have a question you wanted to ask? And then that's all I saw in the chat window. If somebody else has a question, please let me know in the chat window.
Yes. Hi. Thank
Hi,
you
Neely.
again for being here and sharing. I was really touched by what you just said about Carla, because I think this is one of the main things. People don't talk about their problems and they remain unresolved, and we go on through life like that. So thank you. I really appreciate that. It takes a lot of courage to be able to talk about things like that with other people, and a big
Sure.
heart.
For sure.
My question is also around the heart, and it's about self-love. I find again and again and again in the catalyst that I'm experiencing, um, the need or the nudge to show up for myself, to show more self-love, but not in a selfish way, but in a self-loving, other-loving way. And I did read a lot about it in the Confederation teachings, and I kind of wanted to hear from you. What's your perspective on the right balanced way to experience or exercise self-love?
Well, I do believe that we do have to learn how to love ourselves before we can love anybody else. And it's not a selfish love, like you said. It's a love that accepts ourselves when we make mistakes, and we will all make mistakes. This is the third density illusion. We have that veil of forgetting that keeps us from seeing the right path all the time. And we're going to make one mistake after another. But we have to forgive ourselves for it. We have to look at the mistake, to meditate on the mistake, and to just make the intention, like Carla said, make the not to make that mistake again. Because we'll make more mistakes. But if we can learn how not to make that one again, and then that one again, and then that one again, then we can love ourselves fully, even when we make the mistakes. And then we can love other people with the full love of ourselves to give them the Creator's love flowing through us because we have forgiven ourselves for our mistakes. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I try to do it, but every day.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you for your question.
Indeed. B, did you have a follow-up question on that?
Yes, I think I can see from Jonathan, from Jim's face that how the love is coming from Carla, and I feel that because when I do the prayer, I send the prayer to Carla that if you hear me, send me the message that how do you cope up with your back pain. So I think my answer was coming. So maybe it's a little bit delayed coming, but I think when we do this kind of conversation, I think she's present. She's present there. I can still feel the chills, and I can see that
Nice.
she's present. She's present there. So my love to her.
We love you,
Thank
Carla.
you.
Indeed.
Thank you for sharing. You are such a lucky guy. I'm so jealous of you. But
We're all jealous of him, trust me. Thank you for sharing
I
all
have
that.
heard from so many people around the world that tell me they have had contact with Carla and that she's helped them with one problem after another.
Yeah.
And that was what she wanted to do. She wanted to be of service to others, and she still is.
Still does. Yeah, indeed. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I know we are running a little bit of overtime, and we had a little bit of technical difficulties to work out. Jim, if you don't mind, can I ask you 2 questions that were sent in to us through our Facebook group?
Sure.
One was from Lorenzo. He said, I would be extremely interested in asking Jim about his take on the use of pendulum. I was shocked reading the book when Ra gave instructions about the pendulum, as I had been using it for a long time, and I find it an extremely valuable tool for knowing oneself and once mastered for being of service to others. Any thoughts on use of pendulum?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I got nothing either.
Real
Yeah.
quick an answer. I've never used a pendulum. One of our board members uses the pendulum all the time, Beatrice Gonzalez, and she's pretty good with it. I mean, she has a problem to figure out what to do. She uses the pendulum unit. But I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah, nice. Let's see. I think I'm going to move on to the next question. This is from Jay, who asks, why are things so crazy right now in our personal lives? Do you have any insights into the harvest on a personal level, Jim?
I think those things are crazy in our personal life, in our world together, that help us to discover what we want to do with our journeys. Do we want to be positive and face those personal problems, work them through, move forward on our journey? Do we want to be negative and control people and try to cause more problems for them and take their light from them? All of these happening now at the end of the third density illusion are giving everybody a chance to make the choice, positive or negative. And hopefully everybody will, or they'll have to go to another third density planet and run planet Earth by them again.
Yeah. Yeah. But such an honor and a privilege to be given the opportunity to do that. So appreciate it. Jim, that was the last question I saw, and if it's okay with you, we got one more order of business to take care of. Pop quizzes, of course, is something we like to do at the end of our time together, just to end our otherwise serious conversations on a somewhat lighter note, and maybe look for Law of One connections in pop culture. Since we already referenced this phrase today in discussing the matrix of the spirit, we're going to call today's pop quiz Groping in the Moonlight. Of course, as we noted already, Ross said that the moonlight when then offers either true picture seen in shadow or chimera and falsity, and that the majority of adepts remain groping in the moonlight. So today, your pop quiz is basically true or false questions. I'm going to read you 5 statements. You tell me whether they're true or false. Go ahead, Jim, say your answers out loud so our viewers can hear you in space-time. Viewers, go ahead, say your answers out loud so we can hear you through time-space. Folks here on Zoom, go ahead, put your answers in the chat window. As always, points don't matter. If you had fun, you won. If you learned something interesting, you won. Are you ready for your first question, Jim?
I'm ready.
All right, first question. True or false? Stonehenge was built by Druids.
False.
You sound confident about that. Are you sure, or are you just guessing?
I don't think they know who built it.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I have heard it said, but apparently it's unknown when first Druids appeared, but there are no records of their existence until about 1 century BCE. Archaeological dating at Stonehenge shows that it was constructed thousands of years earlier, between 3000 and 1500 BC, making it extremely unlikely that Druids had anything to do with it. Did you and Carla visit Stonehenge when you were in UK?
Yeah, we did. In
Any thoughts on it?
We went there and took a look at it. It's a pretty amazing place.
Yeah. Is it as huge as it seems, like when you're standing there?
It is indeed. It is huge.
Wow.
I guess 15 or 20 feet tall is what I remember.
Yeah, that's amazing. And they must weigh, I don't know, many tons each, I'm thinking. Yeah. Do you think they may have used levitation or teleportation of stones, as apparently our friends in Atlantis had learned to do?
I have no idea. They could have. I mean,
who knows? Are you ready for your next question?
Okay.
True or false? The thumbs up, thumbs down hand sign originated with Roman emperors and gladiators.
True.
Answer seems to be unclear. While widely believed to stem from ancient Roman gladiator fights, historians note that the actual Roman signal, called pollis verso, meant a turned thumb, with specific directions largely debated. The popular imagery of spectators pointing their thumbs down to demand a gladiator's death or to spare his life was popularized by a French artist in his painting Pollis Verso, which is shown here in the lower left. But history scholars apparently have not found any evidence that that specific hands down, thumbs down gesture was used for that purpose. Seems to have been popularized.
What's the actual answer then?
Really don't know.
How can I get it right or wrong?
I guess it depends on your perspective on it, on your point of view on it, for sure. Yeah. You never saw the movie Gladiator, did you, with Russell Crowe? Yeah. Great movie for anyone who's interested in that kind of thing. Are you ready for your next question?
As long as it's true or false.
Well, you never know. You never know. True or false? Moby Dick was a real whale.
True.
It is. Yes. Apparently, Moby Dick was based on a real albino sperm whale named Mocha Dick, named after the island near Chile, where his decades-long reign of terror took place. He is said to have destroyed more than 20 whaling ships, in addition to escaping 80 or so before finally being killed in 1838.
Wow.
Interestingly enough.
I wonder how big Moby Dick was.
I don't know. Enough to take down a whaling ship.
Or I guess he.
Yeah. Side note, extra bonus question. True or false, sperm whales sleep vertically?
False.
It's true, apparently. I only discovered this recently. But viewers, if you go to YouTube and look for the video on serene whale pods sleeping together in harmony, or just look for sperm whales sleeping vertically. This is a video from Discovery Channel UK, and I'm not going to play it here because I don't want to violate copyright, but I swear to God, it is the most freaky thing you will ever see.
That's amazing. I can see they're going straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine what it would be like being that diver swimming through a pod of sperm whales sleeping like that?
Oh, no, not at all.
Alien. Check it out. If you didn't learn anything else new today, if you learned that, that's good.
Important part of my spiritual journey.
Yeah. Well, unrelated to spiritual journey, how about this one? True or false, Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it?
I would say probably true.
It is true. Yeah, apparently it is true.
Where
The
else would you
original
get the
formula
name?
for Coca-Cola did contain cocaine when it was created in 1886 by Atlanta pharmacist John Pemberton. The name comes from its two signature ingredients: extract from the coca leaf, where we get cocaine from, and cola nuts, a source of caffeine.
Well, personally, I like Pepsi Zero.
I was going to ask you about that. You are a Pepsi guy. Can you, any particular reason for that choice? Is it just what you drank growing up?
Well, even when it had sugar in it, I liked it. And I thought that's probably the reason I incarnated on planet Earth, because it had Pepsi. But then when I got pre-diabetes, I started drinking Pepsi Zero.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I don't have pre-diabetes, I still keep drinking Pepsi Zero because it's even sweeter than sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good for you. Yeah. Good for you. I came here for the chicken wings. No doubt about it. I have a follow-up question on this, if you don't mind my asking.
Okay.
A few months ago in a Q&A session, you did tell us that during Don's decline near the end of his incarnation, he had expressed fears that the police were going to bust him for cocaine. He did not actually use cocaine, did he?
No, all his mind was twisted around in too many shapes to perceive reality in a normal way. There was no cocaine. There's no chance anybody was going to get busted.
I would have been surprised if he did, but I did remember you're saying that. And I did want to set the record straight for our viewers who might have picked up on that too. So thank you for setting the record straight. I have one last question for you. Are you ready?
Ready?
True or false? George Washington claimed to have been visited by an angel the night before the Battle of Valley Forge.
I'm going to hope that's true.
I wish it were too, and it has been said many times. Apparently, there are no records. It's false. Apparently, there are no records of Washington ever making any such claims. But the idea that he did came from a story called Washington's Vision, which was first published in a newspaper in 1861, almost 100 years after Valley Forge. And in that tale, an unknown soldier named Anthony Sherman claimed that Washington told him about a mysterious angelic figure who appeared in his tent and showed him prophetic
Well, he was
visions.
leading the troops that got us our nation's just to become the United States of America 250 years ago.
Indeed, on this day. Yeah, it's worth noting our good friend Latuif said on March 27th, 1983, many of those which you know as the so-called founding fathers of this culture were indeed wanderers who had incarnated in what you may call a great wave of incarnations, that they might offer together the concept of freedom and the freedom of choice to entities upon your planet. Worth noting for our viewers, we are recording today on the 4th of July, 2026, the 250th anniversary of this country's founding. Any thoughts you care to share on our country's past, present, or future at this time, Jim?
Well, I think it's great that we're an independent nation, that we were able to gain our independence because George Washington led us to victory. And unfortunately, I've read that because of the heat wave around the country, most of the celebrations for the 250th anniversary have been called off.
I had not heard that. It's definitely a different political climate than I think most people might have expected for this time. And just want to thank you for being here and bringing us together in unity, and wanted to bid well to all our viewers, regardless of where your political beliefs may be. Wish you all well in making that choice and helping you do what you came to this incarnation to do. Jim, did you have any final thoughts, reflections you wanted to share with our viewers before we say goodbye?
I just want to say I love you all because you are all here, and seekers of the like mind together seek will far more surely find. And you're helping me, and I hope I'm helping you, and I hope we can stay together for years and years to come and have these sessions and have more questions and more love shared between us, and tell a few jokes that Jonathan Long will laugh at.
I hope you appreciated the meditation meme that I shared earlier. I just thought it was funny. Oh, Jim, we love you so much. And Carla, we love you so much. And thank you both for all you've done and continue to do in service to others in the physical as well as metaphysical planes. To all our friends at L&L Research, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To everyone who joined us on the Zoom call today, and there's more than a few, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. And to you who are watching this on video at some time in the near or maybe distant future, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. We are sending you our love light, and we are receiving yours. Until next time, in the love and light of the One Infinite Creator. Adonai. Namaste.